Best on the planet is now ready, brother. We are live, brother. We are live. Alan, what's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, a little bit of excitement there as usual before the open. Actually, hold up. A little bit of excitement. Yeah, I know every time I miss a day, the people are always stressed. The people are in panic. Where's RT? Is he okay? The pastor took a day off dealing with broker stuff. But here we are, ready to go. And as usual, if you're tuning in on YouTube, remember our disclaimer. Remember that day trading is risky business. So I got up CVU. I think this one is looking pretty good here to give us something for the open. It's looking decent. 5-minute candle to make a new high over VWAP. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I'm going to post the watch list. No pre-market trades for me. Looks like a few traders in the chat room here, though, did get a decent start to the day, which is always good. I do have in a new set of aligners. I'm still dealing with this nonsense. And so if I sound like I have the lisp, then you guys know why. So CVU looking pretty decent here on the 1 and 5 minute. Daily chart looking okay. I'd say we could, I'd say room to 4, and then if we can get to 4, you know, perhaps 586. Room to 4, and then perhaps 586. This one is in a good price range. The volume looks good. It seems pretty bullish. Definitely fitting the criteria for a stock that could, you know, give a good size move, a good move to the upside in a short time frame. In fact, I'm going to start taking a few trades right here. $360 was our previous high. There's 12 minutes to the open. We're seeing like a baby pullback so far, but you know, nothing major yet. Only small size for me until we can get an actual bottom. If it keeps going up in the uptrend here, that's going to be pretty good. But so far, it doesn't seem like the type of stock that's just going straight up. We had 75 right there. The new high over 4 having some trouble early. The other watch list stocks, CMBM, which did push up a little bit more in after hours. That one was pretty good, like around 2, 3 o'clock yesterday. The halts, the dip and rips, and after hours. I didn't stick around for after hours, but it looks like it kept going. So today, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see something there, but by the way, how's the? Okay, looks good. Yeah, CVU. Again, we're not really breaking out here. I do like that it's holding so far. Will we continue to hold? Will be the question here. If we get a new high and we can sustain the push, I'll size up over 4. For now, just still smaller size here. Hmm. Okay, okay. Can we push through 4 though? Where are those bulls? The highs are at 14. This is where I'd want to see us opening up a little bit more. Can we continue to push? So back down to 95. I'm going to throw out another starter position here, mid 90s, just to see if it holds. Tight stop, back out. So a bit of a false breakout, I'd say. Time 23. I'm going to start my screen recording. We also got the scans up right now. You guys can take a look at the scans for the people who may not have access to a scanner. So we were holding up mid 70s. Will it continue to hold up mid 70s? We had 79 right there. So I'm gonna throw out another order starter size here again, just to see if it can continue to hold up mid 70s. Anything below 70, and there's below 70 actually. I'm gonna stop out small size. Our 5-minute candlestick is red, and it is coming down a little bit. Will we continue to bounce? So 68 and back up. Fairly reasonable there. This one could end up being very good right away, is what it's looking like. As in, like, right away into 930. Will we continue to hold? Got to be careful of it being exhausted, though, right? If we're not able to slingshot quickly, Some more selling this time. 67. VWAP opposite 53. Hopefully we're able to hold the VWAP into the open. QCLS, I haven't looked at. By the way, let me post the watch list here. I'll post it again. QCLS. How's that one looking? Looking like that one could be interesting as well. So I think I'll watch these two. Although QCLS, I gotta check the daily chart here. This is looking interesting here. Going back into the open, we bounced off of the VWAP, which is good. I should have been paying more attention to that trade too. We'll see. Do we have what it takes to hold up for the open? QCLS daily chart here quickly. Mm, 590, 695, a couple of levels. So we got 2 minutes to the open. CVU, we'll see. We're at the VWAP right now. I'm going to go to single screen so I don't forget. What I'm not going to be doing today is going back and forth too many times, depending on if the stocks are like holding up or selling off. It just takes too much time. $43 by 59. We got 45 seconds to the open. Let's continue to trade to the best of our abilities. Let's be disciplined. Damn, I should have took way more size then. Man. High of the current candle is 80. All right, let's see what it does. CPU. It looks decent so far, but will we continue to hold up the first minute and continue through 4? Is a big question here. Bit of a rejection of 4. Kind of tough to get some of these lower entries that I want. It's coming up and bouncing rather quickly. I want to give it a chance here to open up. Okay. What is it going to be? Holding at 05 and watching for 30 plus, although I need more size. My paper hands. I'm taking profits early. What's the high? 26. Do I want to add aggressively over the highs? Perhaps. Oh, I'm a little late there. Okay, we could see a pullback. I want to be careful. Highs are 30 at 36. There's a drop down. 405. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. I didn't get a chance to get in there. Kind of missed it. So far, so good. Just waiting for another entry, high or low. I think preferably low, although I want to be careful of us making new lows. So I'm not going to full size it, just, adding in increments just in case we break down below the whole dollar here. Time 35. See, the question is, can we hold up the pullback here into the new candlestick on the bigger time frame? It does seem to be holding a little higher. Okay. All right, looking forward to being a little bit more aggressive here over time. If this uptrend continues, I'm going to size up more. Oh man, I sold. Come on. That was a little slow to break out though, I'd say, for what I was looking for, but so far so good. 50. Can we hold our previous high at 30s? Mm-hmm. Okay. It still looks pretty healthy, assuming we can hold up though. If it keeps tank, I'm gonna take a starter here. And it no, looks like okay, adding an 80. Adding an 80, average 85. Can we see the bounce back over 4? Bounce for me, bounce for me. Bounce for Pastor. Bounce for Pastor. I might buy it again because it's so extended down that if we retest that low, we should bounce again. Oh man. See, that type of drop though is just so unnecessary, right? Just unnecessary. We're doing good. Stock is holding up. We had a pullback recently, and it's just like Titanic. Okay, moving on. Save dropped a bomb on us. They're selling 100,000 size. That's the only thing I can think of. QCLS. Can we get through the VWAP on this? Oh, I don't know. Hold up. Let me look through everything here. CMBM. CMBM. It's definitely not looking like it can go right now in this moment. So, checking something else. Still not able to trade sub $1 yet. Probably not till next week, honestly. Yeah, that starter size saved me right there in that dip for sure. You know, up in that massive red candle. Would have gotten cooked. VIVS hitting the scans. All right, a CVU back to 410. This is interesting. The 5 minute candlestick is holding up, but we got to be careful of another big drop. I like that it's curled back up here. Was that low? Okay, I think I'm gonna take a starter here if I can. Might be too late already though. Come on down. The price is right. The price is right. Hold up, hold up. I'm not getting the fills. And it's coming down. Okay, small loss there. What's the view up? 89. Fair pullback. I'm in a little high. We'll need this candlestick on a 5 minute chart to close green. And it's coming down. Back on the sidelines here. Oh, I forgot this damn platform. That's gonna be annoying though. It's gonna be so annoying. I'll slide it up. That'll work. Slide it up like this. Figure something out. Sidelines for Pastor. Let me see. What is Marcelo trading here? I'm gonna go watch Marcelo's live stream in the chat. Mighty is trading INTS, red to green. INTS. 75 to $4. Pretty good. And now we had this one low at 65, which is what's throwing me off, but fine. I mean, I'm pretty good here. We came a couple times. So this is just a pretty big bear flag at this point. It could break out eventually. Maybe right here. I don't know. Or is it going to get slammed back down to 60? Time to go short. Actually, what was it gonna do? It's fighting for the new high here. Damn, these fills are not too good. Being careful of a false breakout into this new level here. That's the risk of buying high, of course. If it's strong, though, we should see 30 again. And then over the level. Down profit taking. You know, you just know that there's people holding from 470, from 370. This is an aggressive push. The pullback could be a little bigger. Want to be careful. As long as we don't get another red candle that goes from 30 to 70, I think the stock should be pretty fine here. Short sellers could be caught off guard with that big move. Could see lower here in the pullback though, which would be fine if it happens. As long as we're not dropping down to 370. So what I want to do is just keep buying and have a stop in a reasonable place. You know, if this thing drops down to 370, then it's just weak. So watching for a bit of a panic flush if it does come for a couple more cents down. Adding there again. I'm going to keep buying if we see what we want here. No real size just yet. Well, we see that extra flush out. There's 16. Whenever you average, another VWAP dip. So in at 7, average 13. Probably could have slammed it there, honestly, but you know, going up in massive size, we're not looking to take on too much risk. So again, are we going to drop flush out to 370? If we flush out to 370, it's just weak. It seems like it's kind of struggling here. Yeah. So we had a massive red to green, and it looks like it's just giving back the entire push. We had 390 from 465. It's just a little too much of a dip. Love to see that extra pullback in there, but you know, once we start breaking down 12s, we're just a little bit, you know, 15, 16, that mid-teen, high-teen, 20 area where we had the last breakout, you know, it gets a little dicey. 390 for lows and no bounce. So as usual, some dip trades, pretty risky. Not trading any penny stocks, but INTS moving up for those people looking at that one. Uh, 90 not holding. So VWAP cooked. This, I don't know. It looks like it might go all the way back down. CVU. 81 lows. So the first move is similar to the second move, where we get a decent push. Although this one happened in one candlestick, though. This time around, it's just more of like a slower grind down. 80 before the bounce, yeah. One of those stocks where you gotta capture the front side, like that 75 dip. You know, you know there were some people holding from 75 into this nice move. There is no dip. It is only the bottom. INTS, not trading it, but I can take a look. This one, small red to green so far. 88 pre-market highs. Gonna give the watch list CMBM and others a full look through. Yesterday we saw some good movements later in the day, around like 2, 3 o'clock. After a slower start. QCLS, you know, on a red to green, but it's below the VWAP. Well, we did say if this thing goes back down to 370, well, it's just kind of weak, right? You know, here we are, 370. A couple minutes later, our stronger stocks, you know, usually will hold up and continue. On a good like a better market day, we're seeing continuation. We're probably at like $5 plus, you know, 550 pushing 6, maybe even a halt up. So green, small green to small red, they're plus $100 to red $100 in that last pullback. My share size, I'm not really going over a couple hundred share blocks. I may add up to like 1,500 shares, but sticking to smaller size. If we had gotten to push over the new level, I would have sized up even more, but nothing else for now. Sidelines. Maybe a good time for a bathroom break, really. Not seeing much. For those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you're a new viewer, also consider subscribing to the channel. INTS is on a bit of a consolidation. Waiting on the sidelines. You know, WKUI, the volume just a little too light. Just not enough volume on that one. Big Steve, what's up? I actually didn't see you earlier. I thought maybe the Big Steve took the day. So I'm sticking on the sidelines, waiting until something else hits the scans. By the way, for anybody using like docking stations, you have to make sure you don't leave them on like the brain of the computer. I kind of had one of mine overheat and it's kind of messed up. Just a heads up there. All right, I'll be back. I'm gonna go take a bathroom break. There's nothing moving. CPU, Christmas tree on the chart for now. The front side moves that we had here were pretty good, but you know, brutal red candle flush out and then uh, a never-ending grind, which is actually still going down. CMBM. If this one breaks over the highs, maybe there's some continuation and a retest of today's pre-market highs. That's 630. Watching CMBM with some smaller size. CMBM. This one really needs to get over 630 to open up a little bit. And then maybe there could be room to 768, the pre-market high. It's a whole lot of buying. might end up crashing. Gotta hold up a little bit better than that. And it is crashing. Nothing can sustain a push, brother. Even how the buying is going in. I mean, you're seeing buying, but it's like it goes, it freezes, it goes down, then maybe it then it squeezes up. It's kind of interesting. But all of that right back down. At least they're still holding up 595, 590. Maybe it tries again eventually. This feeling of like having to sneeze. We might have to wait till the PM to see some better moves. Maybe even on CMBM, perhaps. This is slow market trading. INTS pushing up to 90 cents. Good to see that one hold up in support. For those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Will we get another hoorah out of CMBM over time? And there was a massive bid right there. Didn't continue. Will we eventually break out? Now's attempt number 2 on the breakout. Seems to be a higher low so far this time on the dip. We'll see. Come on. Come on. Room to 7 and then room potentially to 768 if it maintains the uptrend. Bro, these dips are no bueno. Jesus Christ. It is back to base. Yeah, we might have to wait till the afternoon to see something like hold up. To see a consistent uptrend. Christmas tree, once again. The only thing that really held up is INTS. I'd say for the most part, after that move, we kind of went sideways instead of back down immediately. The others are in the depths. I definitely could stop buying the pullback too, which is, although what I'll say is that, typically when we're getting in a good uptrend, the pullbacks will always hold up. So I like to buy the pullbacks in the uptrend. But of course, if there's no uptrend in hindsight, the pullback is at the starting point of the move. Whenever we're holding up, even if we make a new low below 50, let's say 40, 30 area, like 45 back into the previous double top, will we see that level become support? And then, stock kind of red to greens off this level here. And eventually a new high, even if it's a double top, sometimes you'll get that consolidation in here. And then you kind of go like, up, down. And then maybe it breaks down, or of course we'd hope for the breakout. But Christmas trees today, Christmas trees. Which is why Monday and Tuesday of last week was really good. Like Monday and Tuesday, we had stocks that held up the pullbacks. Well, now we're at 270, which isn't good. Plus some fees, brother. Although we only traded a couple thousand shares today, like 40,000. Small size for me, just a couple hundred shares positions. Going green to red. All right, I didn't go to the bathroom because I thought this thing could have went. And it is back down. The other one, which was INTS. Not much here for now. At least, well, let's say right now, we did have the good move earlier off the red to green. But we're not trading any penny stocks till next week. My Sage account is almost set up. I think I just got to send in like a couple more files. They asked for me to scan a couple documents. And then that account will be ready to go too. So Webull, my top brokers are going to be Webull, right? I don't know if I'll just use that one below $1. I mean, I've heard some good things. If it's really good, then maybe I use it a lot. But I think I'll use the direct access platforms maybe for like pre-market, since like the fills are going to be a little bit more clean and quick. But it all depends too on the hotkeys, right? If Webull hotkeys are really good, I actually didn't even check to see if it's. I'll check today if we can integrate that one with DAS. If we can, then of course hotkeys are going to be pretty solid. But Webull, Sage, Guardian, And my E-Trade account I'll still use. I mean, I could day trade in E-Trade. Like all these trades I'm taking now, I could take in E-Trade, although without hotkeys, right? That's the difference. E-Trade is just, I use it more like a swing account. It's been a long time since I like actively traded in that one. Definitely thinking about buying some more UNH on the way down. Although I really would prefer mid 30s, but mid 40s is not bad. I think I might add. I'm just not gonna add massive. Like I wanted to buy like another 50,000 worth, but I'll go smaller, and then if it keeps pulling back to the full target, then I can add more. I definitely think this one has the potential to be back up over time. Plus, it also helps if your average is low, right? On these type of dips. From 385 earnings. Earnings a little mixed, Numbers were decent, but sometimes, you guys know how it is with the market, right? You can have good numbers and still it's like Wall Street sometimes either want more or maybe, sometimes there's also guidance. But that one is definitely something I'm keeping an eye on as I'm holding shares in the swing account. Today I'm going to be around again till like maybe 4 o'clock. We'll see if we get some afternoon movements. It's just a little bit more tough to be here and be live the whole time because, you know, there's stuff that I want to do that I just can't do live, like listening into other people, stuff like that. Like watching videos, like watching financial videos and these type of things. If I do it here right now, it's like I'll get like copyrights. If I go watch a Ross recap right now on the live stream, like it doesn't make any sense. So when I'm live, it's a little bit more difficult to like consume, um, you know, education and or content. So I'd like to keep the stream a little shorter if nothing is like, VCIG is moving, right? There's nothing here. CMBM, back down. Like there's nothing moving, and we might not have nothing moving for, an hour. So that's time where I like to have the scanners turned up and kind of just doing other things. And then once something starts to move, then you can, get back into the groove. INTS definitely strong, all things considered, looking back at the pre-market chart. We haven't really broken out yet. Like this, I could see this stock here moving up around like 1, 2 p.m. today. If it keeps in this range, able to keep bouncing before you know it, we finally get the squeeze. Maybe goes to like 150. That would be nice to see. So being around for those moves are definitely key. So red 250 here on the day. Small size day. Green, I think 180, 200, somewhere there. And then red. Primarily pullback trades. Let's see. Vitali, what's up? Yeah, this weekend I gotta be careful though, because there's some things going on this weekend. But I'm gonna put out a success story from one of the chat room members, and then I'm gonna also make a video going over like the last couple of months, and then also talking about brokers and stuff like that. Granted that I always do it in a live stream. Sometimes what I need to do is just clip it and then just re-upload it, but I'll make a fresh video. More than likely Sunday. But yeah, more than likely on Sunday is where that video is gonna come out. The success story is gonna come out Saturday, maybe like 8 a.m. early. That way, it can just whoever comes and wants to see it over time, is gonna be there. NEGG QCLS, just not much. All right, I think I'm gonna be out of here for now. But again, I'll be around in the chat room for the people in the chat room. As usual, we're like always there the whole day. A lot of people on the stream, they'll ask about the other traders. Whether it's Tim, Crispy, Save, the list goes on. All these guys are like always around every day. So for let's see. I think actually I got to remember. Here's something I have to remember to do. I have to remember to import. I have to remember to import um daily on this account because see, and yesterday I forgot. Right on this account, it's hard to like get the data once it's once the week is once the day is gone. I can't wait to be done with these freaking Invisalign things, man. I tell you, they gave it to me. The company went out of business the first time, and they gave it to me. They gave it to me, and it wasn't like it wasn't covering my wisdom teeth, which like threw off the alignment. And then I have to do this like third set again, and it's like, man, they're killing me here. It's hard to speak sometimes with the aligners. So October, a flat month here for the most part. We we had a good week last week, but we had some massive red days, or let's say the week before. This is the first week, the full first week. Second week, we had some massive red days. Monday, Tuesday of the 6th and 7th, it almost seems like it was yesterday. Jesus. So it was already 2 weeks ago. The 6th and 7th, these were days to be up like $10,000. I think everybody would agree who was trading on those days. We had two stocks on both of those days go from 4 to 17 twice, like back to back. So of course, it wasn't a good day in terms of like performance. The Monday, I didn't live stream that day. I traded from somewhere else. Just wasn't a great day in terms of like the start. Technical issues for like the first hour. The entire day was kind of thrown off. But we still got something out of it, and we were grateful for the green there. Day number 2, this is the day we had no excuse, and we had some issues. The front side move, we definitely, sometimes when these stocks start to move, you can't become, you know, like that person who's like waiting for that first pullback. Sometimes, we're getting consecutive green candles. You got to make sure that that new high, you're back in there repeatedly, like repeatedly. But a lot of that is kind of, undercapitalizing in the move on the first couple of good green candles and only making something in the first consolidation. And of course, having to avoid the backside because then if you don't, you know, so days like this really should be like, massive days. And I do think some of these red days we could have done a better job. Although I still think that they're not that bad if we're doing what we need to do on every good hot day. Like on the hotter day. I mean, if you're up where you're supposed to be in terms of what you could do. If you happen to have that red day that comes along where you get caught in something with size that looked really good, because it can happen, right? With how quickly the false breakouts can come. If you're in if you're in 5,000 shares on a move up and we wick down 50 cents, it's 2,500, right? Like it can happen very, very quickly. So if you happen to take bigger losses on a day, on the month, it's not that bad. But you have to make sure on those green days that are hotter, or let's say those hotter days, that you maximize. So it's a flat month. For me, again, I don't really have any issues like showing anything. It's just, it's a matter of just like uploading a video, which I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been a little out of it, So this weekend I'm gonna make a video and just upload for like the last couple of months and like really like a yearly review for anybody who might have like missed, uh, time or stuff like that. This was last month. The month before this, we had not Das, Guardian, and again, my uploads. So I think this month was red 3K, and this month was red 3K. I can't tell with certainty. All I know is that that account is down 6,000 from the highs. But I don't know if it was 3K, 3K, or like flat and then 5K, 6K. I can't remember. I had 32,000 in the account. I think when I first opened it, like the first time, I had some issue in after hours where I was in a trade and like my hotkeys were like messing up. So I called them to get me out of the trade. That was like a 1K loss, like back in like December of last year or January of this year. So the account was like at 31, and I think like today, like a day like today, it's like at 25,000. So that's like 6,000 off the highs. Although I can't remember exactly what transpired in terms of like, was it 3K in this month, 3K in this month, or because I remember I lost like 5K and then I made like 7,000 and then something along those lines. We had like some really good days. I think we had like a 4K day, 3.8, and then like another 2.6, and then we had like some losses over time. Then we had the pre-market day where we're up 1,800, and then the next three trades with massive size were like red on the day, down 800. So the data here is like a little skewed, but September and October we have September and then October. I haven't lost any money really. There's just the opportunity cost of like not being massively green every day. Of course, when you come in, you want to see like 3, 4, 5, 6K a day, right? I think we all would want to see that. And so if you're not seeing it, there's the opportunity cost, right? What I refuse to do, which is why, for example, on days like today, like my size is small. What I refuse to do is to be using massive size and like not as consistent as I want to be. I think that just doesn't make as much sense. On the days where we're seeing those really big moves, like 5 to 10 to 15, like I think that's the day where I gotta, really like push for it. And every other day, like just take it easy, take it slow. really enjoy that hot momentum when it comes, and then kind of just tread water sideways slow. As nice as the stock is, if we come back to, what was it? Not CMBM. Positions, well, we didn't trade on this one. CVU. CVU, we had like some good areas for front side. Like this area here. The first one we did what we were supposed to do. Relative to the size we're using, everything was good there. We did avoid this drop, which was also very good. Sometimes when we get these pullbacks, I can start to look at other opportunities, look at other things, see if the scans are hitting, and not really be in super, in a super good groove, in tune with the stock. And so, that did lead to us missing some of these dips here. Like we didn't take any of the. I think we took the first one. We took this one and sold right into the highs. We didn't take any of these two, and this turned out to be the red to green, right? So 78 up to 18. We took break of 18, but we're out early in this baby pullback right here. I think in at like 22, out at 17 or so, and kind of missed the bigger push. But when we have this type of drop off and consolidation, a lot of times, stock is looking good. You might have some people who shorted back over 4, stops at high of day. So we love to see this red to green here and then consolidation to potentially make a new high with a bull flag. So, again, this is where I lost a lot of money, in a place where, if the stock is typically strong, which the indicators were pointing that we're strong, high of day volume, again, good red to green. So from 465, even if we pull back down there, 420s, which is already a little low, but would be the last area where we had our resistance, right? We rejected 418. If we're to pull back in that range and find support, that's pretty typical to see. But in this area here where I'm like sizing into 430, 420, and a little bit high teens, we didn't really hold up. Even re-average for VWAP, and we broke down the level here. I think at that point we shouldn't have re-averaged. Looking back at it, probably just cut it below that level of like 20 and mid-teens. But the VWAP bounce, it broke down to 90 before curling up. So our first flash candle going down held up right at VWAP, right below VWAP. And then the move above VWAP kind of failed miserably. And so this is also where you can't be too technical, right? Like sometimes these levels can mean something, other times they'll mean nothing, which does make it a little bit tricky at times, right? Most of our candlesticks here, are pulling back below the level, some closing below, some closing above. In real time, this definitely looks a little bit more risky, as in bear flag and then bear flag breaking down to new lows. But sometimes, again, you just got to give it a chance, right? That smaller size, get your feet wet. We took the first one on the flush down, on the immediate panic flush. Didn't really trade the low of the bear flag. The high of the flag here is like the last chance for me to be in. And we kind of cut the trade a little early. That was around 940. 940. Yeah, this is the trade here. 24. And of course, slightly higher fill, which is fine. we needed to give this one more room to the downside in terms of a stop. Break of 50. Not quite for break of 50. Over 50, small trade there. So again, on the front side, not a ton going up, and then the pullback just wasn't anything there. So to have a really nice day, we want to be able to capture this move, at least a good amount of it, if not from the lows, from the midpoint. And then the front side move, as mentioned, we did what we needed to do. Just giving back a little too much on the pullback here. Also pretty good intuition, recognizing early that this one might be good into the open from that pre-market push. All right, I'm gonna go buy a couple $1,000 worth of UNH here, and I'll catch you guys later. Only small ads, and then if it comes down to my full target, I'll size up way more. Not looking to bring my overall average up too much, but I'm willing to take some size there. I think we can see 370s again. Maybe even within like a week or two. These stocks can move quickly, so. But as usual, there's always risk. Equity curve. We can go to the equity curve as well before we shut it down. Let's see. Equity curve. Win-loss expectation. This is the equity curve right here. And we'll also show cumulative. We'll look at cumulative drawdown first. Cumulative drawdown here. So this amount minus 6K is our drawdown, right? So I haven't lost any money. Like I refuse to lose money. To not lose money is pretty easy in terms of like being in like a prolonged downtrend. All you have to do if you look at your month and you're down 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K, 100K, whatever. If you want to have a flat month next month, just size down and immediately, depending on the mathematics, the size, maybe you're at $500 compared to 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. And just think about how much longer you can, just be alive and tread water rather than like 10K, 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 10K. And then, after a few months, you're like, crap, it just doesn't make any sense to do. So you can't have too much ego no matter who you are, or pride, or whatever you want to say. You got to always know that the market is somewhat bigger than us, and we have to always follow the rules of engagement here for ourselves to stay on track. So, it's a nice, beautiful consolidation here. It's a beautiful consolidation, and investors are loading up for the move to the moon. If anybody out there thinks that this equity curve is going to Christmas tree, for me to Christmas tree, it'll take something of like epic proportions. Like I'd need to it'll be drastic. It's not going to be in the market either. It'll have to be out of the market. And even then, I still wouldn't do it because it just, it's kind of silly, right? I don't know what would need to happen. Like there needs to be a meteor coming to the earth or something that says 10 days to live. And I just say, okay, I'm just going to YOLO a trade or something because there's no point in having money. Like it'll have to be something so ridiculous that, because the rules are the rules already. And even if something happens outside of the market, like some people will have a divorce, a death in the family, um, all these different type of things can happen to people. Like that stuff wouldn't make me come and say, okay, I'm gonna go take 300,000 shares on the next $10 stock, and then YOLO a trade on a dip and rip or something. Like it just can't happen. Like it's not possible. Like that's what it would take for me to like have like a blow up day in one day or something. Like something that is just so far fetched that the way how we manage risk. In fact, the way how we manage risk and how our accounts are set up. So we have like 6 broker accounts, like 10 to 15 bank accounts. Like there's just no way that like we're just gonna blow up. Even if an account is to somehow blow up, let's say if I go short and somehow, ruin a trade or something, then there's so many other accounts. It just can't happen. So we're gonna continue to enjoy the process here and go sideways until we finally get to where we need to be to explode in the P&L. To explode. Yeah, it's been a good equity curve here though over the years. Definitely slower to start, and this is maybe even arguably the hotter area. I think a lot of people did well 2020, 2021, but a lot of people who did well in that time they were already pretty seasoned traders, I'd say. Pretty seasoned traders. And I know there's a lot of people watching me right now who they're hoping at some point to be in this place. There's people watching who also may have way more gains than this. One of the trips we met a guy that made 60 million, you know. So there's definitely people of like various levels and various P&Ls. I mean, we've met some crazy people throughout the years in the chat room. I remember some guys were already making 30K a day, $30,000 a day since back in 2020. You know, I mean, there's been some insane people over the time who we've met. Even on like Twitter, sometimes you'll check out. There's some crazy guys on Twitter as well doing some insane numbers. Throughout the team house guys, the students, the chat room, and then friends of friends, and other chat rooms that we know of and see. Very very occasionally, there's people making $1 million days. And we'll talk about it on our calls, and it's like, man, this is insane. Sometimes slightly different strategy, of course, more size. Where we're saying 5K size, 10K size, 20K size, depending on the stock and all that, we might be saying 20K size, right? There's people loading in that same position, 300 to 500,000 shares, just buying over and over and over in that same dip. It's just there's certain levels in terms of that aggression and size and things like that. But again, I don't mind sharing anything like personality wise. I'm kind of made for this, so for me to come and share or even show up every day and it not be what I would want all the time, it's not a problem. No problemo. It's just another day in the process. Before I started live streaming, right? Like I was flat/red every day for 2.5 years. So it's not, anything we haven't seen before in terms of like business. Business will pick up, business will slow down. And it's also why it's pretty good to be pretty diverse in general and also within trading itself. Like we've been making good money on our swing trades. Our swing trades this year have been phenomenal, right? So there's that, and within the market, and then there's also outside of the market. So You know, it's just a matter of taking it one day at a time, reviewing every day, working with people also who are doing well and continuing to make adjustments. You know, as of Friday of last week, one of the biggest things that I told myself is we have to eliminate those bigger red days. We have to eliminate those bigger red days. When when we get a move again that is hot, you know, for example, if CVU was to continue, you know, and we're going from a 4 all the way to 17, the chance to really size up is going to be there. It's going to be there every time, all the time, on those days where the stock continues. So, you know, we did exactly what we were supposed to do, which was to position ourselves to capture the move. On the days where the pullback, the stock isn't going to do much for the uptrend, then we keep it tight and not let today be a day of like down 1 to 2K or, you know, something crazy. But instead, very tight. And then once we see the nice opportunities, we capture them. But we have to, on those days, we have to put forward that aggression. And that's going to be the biggest key, is to flip that switch and say, you know what? Allow me to sweep you off your feet as I have this dance. And we do the dance, right? We do the dance. We do the dance. So as a trader, I mean, you know, for everybody who's trading, there's different ways to go about money. I mean, depending on age. I mean, there's so many variables, right? Where you're living, physical location is a big part of it. Some people are living outside of the states. Some people are living in certain states that are a little bit more favorable for taxes, things like that. Some people's trading is set up under different, um, how do I want to say this? Like in terms of like status, right? So some of us will be able to save more than others depending on how their trading is set up. You know, again, some states will help out. But yeah, you know, we do what we must, and also we kind of have no choice because we do what we can. Let's say we do what we can, but you're gonna get hit with the capital gains, right? The capital gains tax, that is. So you have to pay what you have to pay, and then which is typically around like 30%, and then from there, you know, you can do what you want to do, but typically diversifying is not a bad thing in the market and out of the market. So day trading, also doing some swing trades. Something I never really have done yet with swings is options, but I definitely want to do a few more, or let's say do more. I've been looking into it, but holding shares outright is also not that bad. But yeah, in terms of like the point I was trying to make there is that I kind of didn't really say it too well, but the point I was trying to make is that you got to make sure that when you are having those massive months, 100K, 500K, 10K, whatever it might be for each of us individually, that we're always doing the right things with money. I think all of us know that, but you know, sometimes still good to say it just in case there's a few newer traders doing well that might not know. But if you make 100K and spend 100K, you're going to be in the negatives because then you're going to owe taxes, right? If you make 1 million and spend 1 million, you're going to owe taxes. So you always got to be careful to pay your taxes on time, and then from there you can kind of like, you know, manage. Which, you know, 90 I think 90% of the people here know already, but you know, just in case there's like a few people who are like not as versed with trading just yet in terms of like everything that goes with it. So you store some cash for the slower days. The win loss comparison is absolutely mad, but craziness. the amount of money that's passed through our accounts for all of us traders. El Pastor going sideways. You know, look, these months like this, I haven't seen months like this in a long time, though, in terms of like going back years. You know, months like this, and then May of this year, which I think was the worst month. For the last 2 years, let's go to May of this year. For the last 2 years, or 3 years, really, most of our months are more reminiscent of like January, February, like 20K, 16K, 30K, months like that. Ah, man, I tell you, the algos are definitely different this year as well, which is worth mentioning, right? Um, if this year was anything like last year, I would have made $1 million this year easy, like without a doubt, right? And it's not that it would have been easy, but the fact that the strategy was like already like fully locked in. The strategy right now is a little different, which is why I'm taking this insane amount of time to keep making adjustments. As we know, these companies are like having trouble, right? Because we're printing so much cash and somebody has to lose. Like none of this is a secret, right? Everybody knows this. Like we've been killing them, right? I think all of us traders who are green, really, somebody has to lose. Who is it? Who's going to lose? Is it another trader? Is it a bank? Is it an institution? We see what they will do when they're getting squeezed, right? Not being able to hit the buy button on a broker like Robinhood and other platforms too, right? It's like none of this is a secret. Like this is very public. I'm only saying things that is already widely known. When we had the GameStop squeeze, out of nowhere, people weren't allowed to buy the stocks. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people not able to buy the stock anymore. I wonder how this is possible. Who is losing? Who is losing and has the power to say, you know what? Let me call the CEO of these couple of companies that have a lot of traders, so that I can protect my own neck here, right? So the algorithms changing a little bit is perfectly fine. I think that's just to be expected. But you'll also see eventually platforms banning people, which we've seen very recently here with Thinkorswim, with myself and a bunch of other traders. I mean, there's we can keep going down the line, right? Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, there's stocks you can't trade or not tradable for no apparent reason. Like these things are being done because they know, like, bro, these people are too good. Like they're gonna make too much money, and so we have to find a way to, you know, it's only fun. It's only fun for them when they're winning every time, all the time, right? Just think about this stuff, right? Why is it that randomly a stock is not tradable that is tradable on every other platform, right? So, there are certain things that go into play here. And if the wrong person is losing too much, they will take drastic measures. And it's, as a businessman myself, I smile, I shake their hand, and I say, fair play. I'll see you again on the dance floor because it doesn't stop. You just keep going in the circle, right? So it's business as usual. There's nothing to complain about. I'm more so just kind of talking about what's going on, and so we just keep dancing this dance, right? And in the future, who knows what else we'll see? I mean, hopefully they never ban someone from trading completely who comes upon their own edge naturally. If you're doing insider trading, of course, they should ban anybody. Although even that is kind of questionable because, not to get into that too much, but we're seeing that type of stuff on a very high level in Congress. Congress people should not be allowed to trade stocks in the way that they're doing it, in my opinion. But and there's a lot of websites out there that can track these people trades, and before certain things are bills are passed and things are signed, people are buying stocks and then getting the benefit of it. I mean, it's just some it is pretty crazy. So it's fine. I mean, I think it's cool, right? It's cool, I guess, but it's just insane to see it. Like, it is insane. It's an insane world we're living in. So business as usual, I suppose, right? We continue to dance. There is no complaining or any of that. It's just a matter of refining an edge again and being better. Refining an edge and being better. CMBM and a few others have had some smaller pops, but I think just a quick rant there to shut it to end it off before shutting it down. INTS, I'd hope, is able to break over 1 and go to 120, 150 in the afternoon hours. Well, yeah. So take care, stay safe, stay green. El Pastor, shutting it down. Shutting it down. Yeah, the politicians are doing some insane stuff, man. But anyhow, take care, stay safe, stay green.